Let's podcast alongside Joe Giglio. I'm Joe Ovies, inside Eford Studios in downtown Raleigh. Thanks to Empire Properties and thanks to Copiers Plus. Check them out online at copiers-plus.com. Print management, document management. Maybe you extended your tax deadline. Scan everything in. Email it to your tax guy. Corral all your data. Copiers Plus can help you out with that. Perhaps you've got futures markets on the next pope.
Ooh.
And you got a database.
Wait a second.
You got a database of all the archbishops that could be showing up in the conclave.
Is that a thing?
Dude.
Has it always been a thing?
Hey, R.I.P. to the Pope. Pope
Okay.
Francis. R.I.P. As a recovering Catholic, this hits a little different. Palace intrigue. Where are they going next? This really is like an SEC coaching search, if you think about it.
But SEC coaches win something. When's the last time the Catholic
Do
Church
they?
won something?
Okay, here's my question. Is the Catholic Church a blue blood? Is Vatican City a blue blood? I would say yes. Look at their
They
numbers.
certainly have history.
They certainly got a ton of history. Look at their numbers, right? A lot of important pieces. So I would say they're a blue blood.
If they are, then they're UCLA.
If you're Dan Hurley, would you rather be at UConn or would you rather be at Vatican City? It's got the lineage.
He's got his own fiefdom there, though.
It does.
Yeah.
I mean, my sources haven't told me one way or the other if there's mutual interest between Dan Hurley and the Vatican.
You're going to pull a Woj and
he could. Sources
prop
are
him up,
indicating me.
get that raise from UConn this summer. Dan, Noah believes that you're going to go to the NBA this offseason. Yes, but what if?
As you read in my book, The Miracle at St. Anthony, he was a star at a Catholic prep school. And the archbishops in the conclave are taking great interest in what Dan Hurley could do with the modernization of the
Going to have to clean up his
Church.
language, though. I think.
Oh, but dude, you can bet.
Pope's
Look, come on, man. You were the man on press row yesterday doing side wagers on Adam Lee Decker's national anthem for game 1 of the Stanley Cup playoffs.
In fairness, I get reps during the regular season. I just time them just to be ready for that moment.
What'd you set the over under at?
133.
And it ended up at 133, did it not?
Yes.
Nailed it.
Yes.
Nailed it. This is from Newsweek. Who is favored to become the new pope? According to online betting guide, Cardinal Pietro Parolin is currently the front runner at 4-1, followed by Cardinals Luis Antonio Tagle at 9-2, Peter Turkson 6-1, and Peter Erdo. I have no idea who these guys
Peters.
are. A lot of Peters. 7-1. Betting markets also allow wagers on the name of the next pope, with Francis currently leading at 6-4 odds. Odds checkers odds differ. Reports that Tagle, a Filipino cardinal aligned with Francis's vision of inclusivity, is a favorite at 3-1. All I know is you got to keep JD Vance away from any of these guys. Just keep JD away from most things. He's having a week.
Trophy?
He destroyed the college football playoff trophy and then saw the Pope, and the Pope was like, man, I'm good. God,
I've seen enough.
Bring me home, God. It's time. I've seen enough.
Jesus is rising, but I'm leaving.
I'm out. Peace out. But yeah, betting on the Pope is a thing that has taken, this is something that's always been a thing. You go back to Renaissance Rome. I did a quick Google search on this, and a Substack story came up corralling a lot of historical pieces on the betting markets of Renaissance Rome.
Wait a second. Are you saying my people have a history of gambling?
Yes.
Interesting. I never would have come up with that.
This is from a Substack called No Dumb Ideas that that pulled a lot of research papers on this. Now combine this with the deep gambling culture that existed in Renaissance Rome. Cinsali, essentially bookies, took bets on everything from the outcome of pregnancies to the identities of new cardinals. Like a Renaissance version of the Polymarket comment section, newsletters sprang up promising insider information on the Vatican's current thinking. These bets straddle the line between savvy financial hedging and complete degeneracy. And this is from Williams and Patton, forecasting the outcome of closed doors decisions. Evidence from 500 years of betting on papal conclaves. They had cardinals elected in conclave years, their papal names, and what the market details were at that time. Like in 1549, was it Gianmary del Monte, Julius III, loved his reign, Market details, significant wagers, reports of widespread leaking of information from the conclave. Bunch of chatty ass Cardinals, man.
So what you're saying is they had a guy who had a guy who knew they only had white smoke. So take all the other smokes off the board. It had to be Julius.
Oh, so we'll keep you up to date on the Pope betting markets.
Explains a lot.
We go into the conclave.
Explains a lot.
What are the betting markets looking for the Carolina Hurricanes after game one? In my best Mike Greenberg,
Great.
Giglio. Oh, speaking of Italians, shout out to Guido. I ran into a listener on the third floor yesterday.
Okay.
And he says, I know Giglio's Italian, but I'm even more Italian. Here's my last name. And he showed me his driver's license to prove that Guido was his last name.
Was he from Jersey?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Then yeah.
Super Jersey.
Yeah.
So,
I am half Irish.
I know.
Or Scotch. Whatever you want to
So
call
my best Mike Greenberg get up. Giglio with a 4-1 victory over the New Jersey Devils. Is this series over? Is this series done?
Oh, man.
It's my favorite Mike Greenberg moment. Anytime there's a multi-game series, game one, definitive, authoritative, as the coach of the Devils said, overwhelming win for the Carolina Hurricanes. Joe, is this series over?
Well, to give you an idea of what our modern day gamblers and guys think.
Yeah.
Right now, the Hurricanes are minus 950
Okay.
to win the series, which means you'd have to bet $950 to win 100. That's a fairly serious number. Toronto won last night.
Yeah.
They're minus 410.
Pretty emphatic fashion last night.
They did. Listen, when they had Hughes, when they had Jack Hughes,
Yeah.
they were a similar team to what the Hurricanes were.
Mm-hmm.
And without him, they're shorthanded and they're, quite frankly, they're just not skilled enough. And they want to play the same way the Canes do.
Yeah.
This is a styles make fights series.
Work.
The Canes, if they see if they see Toronto, you're like, oh boy, look at all that skill over there. Maybe they get to the Cup Finals and they see Edmonton. You're going to be like, oh dear Lord, Giglio, this is not a good one. But when they see a team like this who just wants to play the way that they play, okay, well, let's do it. Let's mix it up.
Do you think the Conclave will kick the tires on Rod Brind'Amour? I mean, it's not like he's getting paid a lot of money. Like in terms of contracts in the NHL, he's not one of the highest paid coaches. And look at the success that he's had. I mean, consistency.
Still need that championship though. Before you
is that what's holding him back?
Yeah. If it's a true blue blood,
maybe he's a fallback. Look, all I know is that is there a papal fly to wear?
There has to be.
What's the Garner golf group saying? What are the money people? What do the money people want, Joe?
Please don't make me make a joke in bad taste.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Sorry
about fly to wear, and if the Catholic Church wants you to disappear.
Look, like I said, okay.
Or they'll move you to the Jersey Shore.
Moving on. Yeah. Moving on. No, so I think that's getting back to the Canes, and specifically what we saw last night. I think Luke talked about it with us yesterday. I know he wrote about it today in the News and Observer. And this is why, to get back to your Nick Saban, love him up a little bit with some holding him to a little bit of a higher standard. This is not the Canes' first rodeo. This is not the first rodeo for the core group. This is not them in 2019,
new
pandemics,
car, new smell,
all that kind of stuff. What does it take to win? Remember, there was a time where you point to Boston and be like, man, that's who you have to beat. You have to get through those demons, if you will, right? Just like New Jersey was the demon they had to get, literally the devil. Back in the day, they had to get through in 2002. Mm-hmm. And then they haven't lost a series against the Devils since, right? So, which leads to a philosophical question that Luke asked while we were up in the press box. Who's had a worse time in that building since 2002? Marty Brodeur, who's still with the organization, or Lou Lamoriello in multiple situations, whether as a coach, GM, or with the Islanders as well, right? So that's something we can ponder. But the point that I'm making here is that I'm in agreement that the Canes with Rod Brind'Amour and this core group, they know what it takes. They know what it takes. And we talked about this with Maniscalco, where you have other teams that are trying to replicate what the Canes are doing with a younger group. So if you are in the position of being a favorite, well, you got to go out there and look like a favorite. And that's what I took away from yesterday. They looked like a favorite in the series. And then when you expand it out to the rest of the East, there's no reason why this Carolina Hurricanes team can't make a run and get to the Eastern Conference Finals. I feel like that's knowing what we know about this team, this conference, getting to the Eastern Conference Finals seems like a bare minimum. Much like we talked about with Cooper Flagg and Duke. Like, what do you expect to get to? Well, the Final Four was the thing you had to get to. After that, let it rip. We'll see where it goes. I feel like everything laid out, I can see the Canes getting the Eastern Conference Finals.
Well, let's not move the goalposts.
Fair enough.
Okay. The Hurricanes went into the season. We were like, don't be surprised because the puck daddy, the hating ass puck daddy,
this is true,
said they weren't going to make the playoffs.
This is true.
And then he picked them to lose in the first round again, even though he should know better. We went into this year, we thought, you know what? The Canes are going to make the playoffs, but it won't be the same way that we remember them making the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go with Marty Necas having an outstanding start to this season, carrying them early, and then they kind of hit a wall, right? Even with Necas, they hit a wall, they make a deal, and then you get Rantanen, you're like, okay, now we're playing for the cup, right?
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden, Rantanen, let affair Rantanen happens, and you're like, okay, back to, well, let's just get in the playoffs, which essentially they did, right? They took care of business.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want to move the goalposts. I think going into this year, you were like, they're going to be a playoff team, win one round. And I think that's a successful year for them this year. I will point this out, though. Sometime, and you made this last night on the After Dark. We'll be doing After Darks all playoffs long. Sometimes you go into a year and you got a monster and it's 99 and it's 25 and you're like, oh, man, here we come. Sometimes you go in and you're like, if we could steal one here, we might be able to figure this thing out when people aren't expecting us to figure it out.
That's what I'm looking at.
And I look at New Jersey, it's a dream matchup. Of the 16 teams in the playoffs, they could not have asked for a better matchup in the first round than a wounded New Jersey. Their next potential opponent is Washington, a Washington team that they have a lot of confidence when they play against.
Yes.
Alex Ovechkin or not. And they're going to go into that series, same thing. People are going to be looking at Ovechkin. People are going to look at the numbers that the Capitals put up there in the regular season. All of a sudden, you have a chip on your shoulder. Ultimately, for the Hurricanes, it always comes down to the same thing. Will their skill ever show up? Will it ever win out? And do they have enough of it?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm looking at. Because when you get to that Toronto situation, Florida, if the Florida War Machine comes home with Marchand and Tkachuk, I'm excited to see what they look like tonight. Will Tkachuk be in the lineup? When you start playing those teams, then all of a sudden, then you have those moments like we did when they ran up against a hot Boston team in their top line.
Yeah.
Like we saw against Florida when they were swept by the Panthers in the Eastern Conference Finals. Even with the Rangers, the Rangers' skill was a little bit different. It was an older goal scorer in Kreider and a goalie at the top of his game. But I think ultimately, this is a perfect matchup for the Corsi Kings. You're playing, you got your forecheck, you got a team that wants to play that you're playing with a speed game. One thing I always love about the playoffs, and we'll see what happens on Tuesday, I always know who's serious about the playoffs and who's just there to jerk off.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Remember the Nashville series?
Remember
during the pandemic?
Yeah.
Every fucking whistle was a face wash, a stick chop, a this, that, because they knew.
Yeah.
They were garbage.
Devils got into that last night.
They had the juice man in net, and it was like, okay, and that guy was on a blazing heater, right? But I like it when there's games like last night. Oh, no, we're playing. But the shit between the whistle, it got a little chippy as we went along. But think about like the Washington series. It was always the same bullshit.
It was, yeah.
You know what I mean? So I like it when it's just like, oh, you want to play? The Florida series to me. Anytime they play Tampa, speaking of teams that have a ton of skill, when they play those Tampa teams, you see the common thread. When a team has more talent, they don't have to rely on bullshit.
Yeah.
It becomes, well, we're going to play. We're going to trade paint and see how this thing's go. I see how this thing's go.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this is a great thing for the Hurricanes. I don't necessarily think they've had this before.
No, they have not.
A path like this.
No, they have not
before.
They have
you
not.
know what I mean? So I like this for them. I want to see them take advantage of it because if Rod really is about that life, every once in a while you got to steal one.
You got to steal one. We have not seen that yet.
Every once in a while you got to get one when people don't think you're going to get it.
We haven't seen that, and the history of the Carolina Hurricanes in the postseason has been stealing one. I mean, look at New Jersey and the shock at the Rock, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like those are the things that's kind of baked into how we talk about Carolina Hurricanes postseason success.
Let's take a break. Let's take a hockey break. Brought to you by Happy and Hill.
Big thanks to Happy and Hell. We do the hockey breaks, and we are in peak hockey break season right now, thanks to the Stanley Cup Playoffs. You might need to take a smoothie break. You might need to take a quick lunch break. You head on over to the Happy and Hale. By the way, they got the pop-up right now over in the Smoky Hollow area. Makes it super easy. Walk up, get your bowl, hang out, maybe play a little pickleball if you want. There's a dog park too. It's great stuff with Happy and Hale.
So I saw Tyler.
Yeah.
Not when we went, but I went like 2 days later.
Yeah.
Jessica.
Yeah.
And I see Tyler. He goes, there was just somebody here who said they didn't even know we were down here until they heard about it while you guys were talking about it on the show. And he goes, I don't know if you put him up to it. And I'm like, I was like,
well, yes,
that's a good thing.
We did. We tell our listeners, tell people you showed up because we told you to show up. So yes, we did put him up to it.
And I would say, B, I respect that you respect my hustle. So yes, and thank you to the unnamed person who went up to Tyler and said,
hell yeah,
I'm here because of the OG. We
Hell
need
yeah.
more of that in our life.
So use the promo code OG25 if you use the app to order. You'll get 25% off one time your order. And also screen grab it, send it to us. The OG goes digital at gmail.com or send us one via Instagram or something like that through DM. And you'll be in the running for a black card, 20% off for life. So big thanks to Happy and Hale for the hockey breaks.
919-444-2211. Call the OG Sports phone and curse or don't.
Hey, happy 420, belated 420 to all those who celebrate. I know our friends over at Nature's Relief who bring you the sports phone. Nature's Relief Hempstore.com, RELEAF Hempstore.com. They were doing all sorts of deals yesterday, but they're doing deals all the time. So drop on by your local Nature's Relief store and see what they got going on. Just start a conversation about what might work for you. I'll tell you what, I was kind of hyped up after postseason hockey last night.
You felt alive?
Felt alive, and then I took a quarter of a gummy to chill out. Slept like a baby.
There you go.
Good stuff. All right, this is from a 919. Hey, Joe, will we see Bill Belichick or Jordan Hudson as the Canes Game 2 siren sounder? We got Will Wade last night to open things up with the siren. I was not exactly thrilled with his effort, especially considering that it's a pre-recorded siren for the first one.
No.
Yeah, the first one's pre-recorded.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Are you breaking news on the OG right now? That's my job.
I don't think so. I thought that was common knowledge at this point, that the first siren is pre-recorded. So you just got to fake it.
Oh.
Yeah. Trust me. Go back and watch. If you don't believe me, go back.
I believe you.
Go back and watch. Go back and watch Will Wade's siren and match it with the audio and tell me that the siren makes that noise that consistently with that level of effort. Just saying. I'm not going to give Will Wade a D+ like Corey Lavalette did.
Oh, he gave him a D?
He gave him a D+.
Ooh.
A D+ on that one. Not great. Not great. Easter Bunny brought it. So did Jesper Fost.
Will we see Bill Belichick and Jordan Hudson? Well, will there be a strawberry lobster?
We'll get to that
at the arena.
We'll get to that lightning.
Will they be paid in strawberries or Iowa sweatshirt?
Is there are there some Papal odds on Bill Belichick showing up to do the siren at Lenovo Center?
Well, Mike Sondheim is a Tar Heel for life.
He is
an actual Tar Heel for life.
He is.
If there were strings to be pulled on that front, and if Bill cared, I would say he's welcome to come sound the siren.
They better be the first one, so it's pre-recorded.
I mean, you know.
Oh, look, he's showing. He's got like a cutoff, like Canes hoodie.
Could be tough.
He would crush it. Honestly,
not a hoodie though. It's got to be like the jersey, just cut off.
And clearly, as we'll find out in lightning round,
we'll give him the rant in it if you want.
Maybe we'll give him the rant, yeah, or the MJ Morris. But because honestly, what we've discovered, and we'll get to this in lightning round, it looks like Bill Belichick will wear any hoodie. He'll rep any hoodie if you give it to him. Housekeeping brought to you by Enovana. Check them out online at enovana.com.
If you have mess inside your mansion or trash in your cabana, get it clean with Enovana.
We got the OG birthday bash, which is coming up on May 1st. That's a Thursday. Why are you making a face?
We're ready. We got more bourbon.
Are we ready?
We're ready.
Are we ready? At least it's very in line with how we operate as a company. So at least we stay consistent.
Oh, Ken got me the Canadian
Some bourbon.
What's the bottle with the horse on it?
I don't know.
Yes, you do. The one that Keats gave you.
Oh, that's a Blanton's.
He got me the Canadian Blanton's.
Oh, there's
got
a
a moose on it.
There's a Canadian Blanton's?
Yes.
I didn't realize there was a Canadian Blanton's. That's
Yes.
news to me. I'm
Yes,
excited
that's a
about
big
that.
win for somebody in the raffle, the OG birthday raffle.
Okay.
Yes.
Got it.
There's
Got
a
it.
Kentucky Owl Rye that he gave us as well.
Yeah, I saw that one.
Of course, we have the Colonel Taylor, always the staple.
We're also going to have OG trucker hats.
We've got hats. We've got Roback zips,
Mm-hmm.
special edition, custom made Q zips, Roback. So those are worth it. I got a Drunk Wolf shirt in there as well
Okay.
from our friends at Base 6. So we got gift cards from Two Roosters, Butcher's Market.
We got all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, we got a lot of good stuff this time. Actually,
We're cleaning
For
out
real.
we are cleaning out the prize closet.
no,
if you
not
will.
even.
No,
It's
I'm
not
kidding.
that.
I'm kidding.
It's not that.
No, but we will have. So I got the OG Media podcasting logo that looks very, very similar to a Racing Outfits logo that I won't name. We're going to give some of those away, but you will also have access to them.
We're back on our access.
We are back on that access. This is a special run of 30 hats.
We gotta be back on something.
That's fine. So we're back on that access. So if you show up to the OG birthday bash and you want access to said hat, Venmo will work on that one for the
Okay.
low price of $20 for access.
Okay.
$20 for access. Keeping costs low on this hat for sure. So anyway, that's May 1st. OG birthday bash is going to be at Shady's in Garner. So go to our socials for more information. I got all the stuff up there. We're on Facebook as well that you can
And
reply to the invite.
I'll write out some of that stuff today for the raffle tickets.
Yes.
Check my Twitter.
Yes, we'll definitely make that happen. And of course, this is all happening thanks to our friends at Whitaker and Hamer. You can check them out online at wh.lawyer. Again, that's wh.lawyer, attorneys and counselors at law. Big thanks to Matt Davis. Saw Matt at the Canes game yesterday.
Yes, we did.
That was cool. I'm going to have to start the conversation with Matt as we get closer and closer to Caleb getting a full driver's license with a vehicle. And it was like, hey, so it's finally time to have that conversation about seeing how much money I can save. You need to be in that situation as well. Contact Matt Davis, really easy. Contact him at 919-779-8277 or visit insuregarner.com. Giglio is rocking the Roback today. He's got the City of Oaks polo on. I received mine.
Oh, nice.
Maybe
This means
tomorrow.
we'll probably give it away in the raffle.
No.
Or
I
you
might-
got someone in mind?
I might wear it tomorrow.
No, you're not.
I might wear it to the game tomorrow.
No.
It's perfect. It's got a hockey player on it. So yeah, I might show up in the game tomorrow in that.
I have played golf with you and you've not worn a golf shirt. So
you know what?
I don't know how I'm going to
Here-
respond to seeing you in a golf shirt.
Here's the thing, man. The design is so good that
It's ridiculous.
I am willing to be like, you know what? Damn it, I'm going to wear this polo.
It's also very comfortable.
And you got to stay ready. Like our guy Ken, he stays ready. He's got the Roback quarter zip. I see he bought the breaking t-shirt as well. He had access to a hat.
Mhm.
So Ken is staying ready, repping the OG with the Roback quarter zips, the shirts and the hats and everything else. We appreciate that. But yeah, man, I might wear it tomorrow.
Okay.
Do you want to get that polo? Use the promo code OG20. Go to roback.com. Use the promo code OG20 to save 20% off your order. Joining us on the Heister Automotive Group hotline is Brooke Pryor. ESPN covers the Steelers. You're always in the hot zone. Always in the hot zone, Brooke.
I don't think that's a coincidence. I think that drama is just attracted to me, but at least it's in my professional life and not my personal life.
Let's start big picture here with the NFL draft. And I think Adam Schefter today, your colleague over at ESPN, finally put it out on Front Street, something that I think we've all understood, but we don't want to say it because we got to hype up the draft. We got some QBs here that ain't getting first round grades if we're being honest. But because it's an NFL QB buyer's market, we put these guys into positions that they shouldn't necessarily be in. Are we finally crystallizing this point as we enter the draft on Thursday?
Yes. And if it feels like we've been here before with the Steelers, we have in 2022. I had to say that slowly because all the years really run together. But this feels like we're back in Kenny Pickett times. The Pittsburgh Steelers need a quarterback. They are picking 21 when they drafted Kenny Pickett. It was they were picking 20th overall. And it's not a great quarterback class.
Yeah.
Kind of feels like time is a flat circle, and they are going to be pressed into needing to draft one. And it makes it even more relevant that I asked Art Rooney II, the team president, owner, the whole shebang, if they learned anything from drafting Kenny Pickett and how they handled that situation. And he said, not really. So that should really give you a lot of confidence about the direction the Pittsburgh Steelers are headed with like 80 some hours until the draft.
Well, and I guess the Steelers are in the hot zone for this too, because they've been attached to Aaron Rodgers. There was some lead up about Pat McAfee's big night out, or whatever he was calling it there in Pittsburgh with the sold out arena. I mean, salute to Pat. Part of the appeal was people were kind of speculating that Aaron Rodgers was going to show up and that he was going to announce that he was going to be with the Pittsburgh Steelers. That never happens. He doesn't show up. Aaron Rodgers goes on with McAfee last week and was all over the place. Maybe he retires. I've been up front. I'll play for 10 mil. I'm in a different place in my life. I got a relationship. And as I'm watching these clips, I'm thinking to myself, why would the Steelers want this? As QB desperate as they might be, why would they want to invite all of that goes with it?
I can put myself in the Steelers' shoes in a lot of times. This is one of them that if they sign Aaron Rodgers, I do not understand the logic. Because the Pat McAfee appearance was a 45-minute exercise in every single negative that comes with Aaron Rodgers.
Mm-hmm.
You had him being vindictive. You had him being wishy-washy. You had him soft launching a retirement is what it sounded like. You had him saying, I'm not holding anyone hostage. I don't want to be the center of attention. To me, the perfect illustration of Aaron Rodgers is him being so proud and going above and beyond to fly into a different airport, to rent a Chevy Malibu, to drive himself to the Steelers facility, all in the name of this being a covert operation, and then searching on Twitter or social media afterward to see if anybody got a picture of him in the Chevy Malibu. And also, news still leaked. And by the way, because he went above and beyond to try to do things so that he wouldn't be noticed and like specifically came in a side entrance, I live about a mile from the facility. I walk by this facility all the time. That's like where I will go on like my exercise walks. I go right beside it. And I took pictures of that side gate being opened that morning because I thought, that's kind of weird. I never see this side gate open. And it's giving me a look into the back practice fields, which they had been tearing up, I guess, to resod the grass. And I just saw mounds of dirt. So I was like, I'm going to take pictures of these mounds of dirt in case it happens to be relevant. And in that process, I got a photo of his Chevy Malibu rental in there because it was different and odd versus if he had just driven in the normal way and parked in the parking lot with everyone else, it would not have been a story.
Yeah.
So yeah, if I'm the Steelers, I'm not going anywhere near that.
I'll edit that part out. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I get that I was out on spring break and then I was chaperoning a indoor percussion high school group trip to Dayton, Ohio, Brooke.
Wow. First 4. Look at you.
I missed the whole Chevy Malibu thing. I missed that.
He specifically
I said it time apart.
in an effort to be undercover, rents a Chevy Malibu. And the best part is, too, there's a photographer in Pittsburgh, Ed Thompson, who does great work. And he was one of the photogs that went out there when news broke that Aaron Rodgers was in the building. And he went out and camped out with all the other photogs. He got a picture of Aaron Rodgers in the Chevy Malibu and posted it and was like, oh, I think this might be Aaron Rodgers. And everybody was like, no, there's no way. It was him. Like, if Rodgers had just done this, like, and any other quarterback goes on a visit, if he had rolled up in a blacked out Suburban or Escalade or whatever, no one would have thought twice about it. We would have had photos of a guy behind tinted windows in the back seat. Like, you wouldn't have been able to see anything. But in going about it the way he did, he kind of guaranteed that someone was going to get a TMZ style photo and it was going to be out there and we're all going to be analyzing it like Bigfoot footage. Again, he says he doesn't want to be the center of attention and then does everything he can to be the center of attention. And the Pittsburgh Steelers are not an organization that wants their players to be involved in the media spotlight in that way. Like, it was a big deal here when Ben Roethlisberger had a weekly radio show, a local radio show in Pittsburgh. And eventually, from what I understand, like the kibosh got put on it because he was airing dirty laundry, and it just brought more attention and more scrutiny and sowed more discourse. If you do that with Aaron Rodgers, it's amplified times 100 because he's doing that on McAfee like he just did. He hasn't even made a decision yet, and he is a massive headache for your organization. And for what? For what QBR rating? For he is not 4-time MVP Aaron Rodgers right now.
No.
He's 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers. The upside there. He is not worth the drama. And I have been on that train since it came out. I continue to be on that train. I'm here. If I get to cover it, great. I love reality TV. I love Bravo. I would get to have a Bravo right in my own backyard. But if I'm the Steelers from a football perspective, it makes no sense. And it makes even less sense the more you let him talk, or the more that you listen to him talk publicly, because it's not he's going to do whatever he wants to do. And that's example 1A on McAfee.
If he was going to be with the Steelers, though, wouldn't he already be there?
You would think so. Especially he's sending all these mixed signals, right? He comes on a visit, doesn't sign. The Steelers are the team that is very publicly like, we want you. Art Rooney is saying at owners' meetings, we're hearing that he's headed in our direction. All of these things, like if you want to be wooed, the Steelers are wooing you. And then you go out and you have this workout with DK Metcalf and say, oh, surprise, there was a photographer there. And I said it was fine for him to put pictures out. Like, he knew what was going to happen with that. It just feels like he is bored and he wants to flirt for fun. He wants to spar, but he's not going to land a punch. He's not going to let anybody else land a punch on him. Like, it very much feels like he is trying to prolong his relevancy in the media market on the national stage. And this is how he can do it, because the only way he's relevant on a football field at this point is for people to talk about how bad he is.
Yeah.
Interesting you bring up Kenny Pickett and the answer, the public answer that you got about what did they learn. I suspect they learned not to reach. That's number one. But in the same breath, I think you also learn part of drafting quarterbacks is you have to keep drafting them, because that's the only way you're going to get them.
Yeah.
You know, like think about it. You had been too long, but you drafted him and you got 2 Super Bowls out of it. That was pretty good. But he stayed too long. Russ, way past his expiration date, but helped you get to the playoffs. That's a good thing. Obviously, they didn't see enough in Justin Fields to consider him to be the long-term solution. Fine. I trust their judgment on that front. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I know they've kind of handcuffed themselves by not having the 2nd round pick, but Pickens and Metcalf is an attractive package for once. Matt Canada's not there to screw it up by throwing screen passes to the backup 3rd string tight end. So that's a good thing too. What am I missing here? Why is this their blind spot? Why has this become such a problem for them?
It became a blind spot with Ben, and it has persisted because they let him stay too long and because they let him dictate their drafts. You mentioned they've got to keep drafting quarterbacks so that you can eventually hit on one. The only quarterback that they drafted of significance in that time, at least recently, was Mason Rudolph. And Ben made his life a living hell, for lack of a better term. Like, he made it very clear that he did not want Mason there. It was not his job to mentor him. And it kind of scared them off from being able to better prepare that position, knowing that Ben's getting older. So instead of doing what the Packers did and drafting Jordan Love when you have Aaron Rodgers in his prime, you appease Ben and you try to get more offensive pieces or shore up the defense. You try to do things to win with Ben when they should have been trying to win after Ben. And so now they're playing a lot of catch up. And they felt like, okay, moving on from Kenny Pickett, great, that's good. You kind of minimize that mistake by trading him, by bringing in Fields and Russ. I think the next mistake that they are currently making as we get farther away from Ben is that they're not prepared to spend what it costs on a quarterback in 2025. When you look at the deal that Justin Fields got with the Jets, he is the lowest paid starting quarterback who is not on a rookie deal. And the Steelers wouldn't pay him that. It's not a matter of they didn't think he was talented enough. It's a matter of the number that they offered him. And to me, that goes back to this is the problem with this organization as a whole, is that they think they are operating in a way that suggests they believe that people should want to come to the Steelers because they're the Steelers, and that they should operate or that they can continue to operate the way they always have in terms of contract structure, in terms of monetary value, all of those things, because the standard is the standard, but their standard was set and they're not raising it. And
what's their standard now? Winning records? Is
Yes.
that it? Just having a winning
Yes.
record? I mean, I keep
That's the
hearing the
problem.
standard is the standard, but I thought the standard was, postseason success, not just
No.
backing in. Although I do feel like to blow this back up again into the NFL as a whole, I do feel like the Steelers are they are the perfect franchise for what is really at issue in the NFL in general, and where we are now with the quarterback and the push and pull of egos and not moving on when it's time to move on, competing interests in what the ownership thinks what they want to do, front office thinks that they should do, the ego of a quarterback, all those types of things. The Steelers are not alone in this. And it gets back to the start of this conversation in that we're also not honest with ourselves about what this quarterback draft class is. So why would you reach anybody? Why would you even entertain that conversation? And that includes veteran quarterbacks like an Aaron Rodgers. Why would you reach at this point? I just feel like we're at an inflection point here in the next couple of years, and something's got to break when it comes to that quarterback market.
Something has to give, but I also think the Steelers have to change how they do business, which is a wild thing to say, I know, for a team that has had the amount of sustained success that they've had, but we are getting farther and farther away from that. At this point, the only way to win is to have a good quarterback. The only way you get that good quarterback is to have a top 5, a top 3 pick. How do you get that? Well, you either bottom out as a team for a season, or you're comfortable with parting from enough draft capital or significant players to move up in the draft. The Steelers to this point have not been willing to do either thing. So you got to pick a route now, or you've got to be comfortable paying a quarterback, paying for a Kirk Cousins trade or any of those things. All things that this team so far has been like, no, we've never done it that way. Therefore, we're not going to do it that way now. And that you don't get to set the market as a team. Right now, the market is telling you what it's going to command. And when you don't meet that, then you end up with Mason Rudolph as your starting quarterback.
It's interesting, though, that he said they didn't learn anything, because I'm going to go back now. Why do you think it's at least part of the reason that they took Kenny Pickett?
Well, that would be that Kenny Pickett went to Pitt and was in their backyard.
And they passed on the Pitt quarterback in 1983.
Correct. We're trying to redo the Dan Marino situation.
We're kicking themselves for 30 fucking years after. I'm serious.
Come on.
No, it absolutely is.
Kenny Pickett and God.
Absolutely is.
That's the next Dan Marino. Who thought that?
No one thought that he was the next Dan Marino, but I think
Telling you,
there are people within that organization that were trying to correct history, trying to course correct. Like, we cannot miss on another Pitt quarterback. We cannot let another guy leave our backyard.
yes.
I figured it out, Joe. You always talk about how Scarlett Johansson is not going to sleep with you for free. Well, I have a way to do this now. Go to Disneyland, go to the Marvel campus, and you can get fake Scarlett Johansson.
Fake ScarJo? Just like they got fake Dan Marino?
Just like they got fake. Well, he went to Pitt. Well, no, she's dressed in the Scarlett Johansson now, technically. So there you go. Like, what?
And yeah, how well did that work out for anyone?
It's not going to work out well. It's not going to work out well.
No, but here's where I wonder where the Steelers go.
That never crossed my mind, by the way.
Oh, it was absolutely a real thing.
It never crossed my mind, because I never thought that grown ass adults in the room would go, in 19, like that's.
We need to have a lesson on Pittsburgh and thinking about the past and letting the past dictate our future.
Here's the thing. I say that now knowing full well that there's a 73-year-old Hall of Fame multi-winning Super Bowl coach that is in pictures with a 24-year-old with the captions that read, "Happy birthday to my twin flame." And my immediate thought upon seeing twin flame was, I bet you Jordan's got Bill on CoStar right now. Right now, looking at astrology.
My immediate thought was, oh, someone did not watch the Hulu or Netflix documentary on what twin flame means and how wildly toxic and problematic the twin flame universe is. Because let me tell you, Teddy and I watched that. We were like, we love a good documentary, and we love a good documentary on cults.
Yeah.
Whew, whew.
I'm going to have to watch that one.
You do
Because
now that Bill might be in it, you absolutely need to watch it.
It's so funny. I'd love if we see Bill at ACC kickoff, I'm going to ask him, what's CoStar telling you right now? What are your do's and don'ts, buddy?
If you see Bill at ACC kickoff, Jordan's going to be right beside him.
Now, do you think so? This was asked. Who asked us this question? Oh, it was Josh Graham. He's always asking questions. Our friend over at
journalist, a great journalist.
Capital J Journo. He had actually asked that question in relation to Belichick about ACC kickoff. I'm like, we'll get Mike Lombardi. That's who we will get on Radio Row.
It's fine.
Fine.
About the Steelers, I have two twin thoughts, if you will.
Twin flames
since
of thoughts?
we're here on
twin fire thoughts. Twin
Yes.
flame thoughts.
In
Yes.
fairness to the Steelers, to your point about quarterback avatar in the situation,
Yeah.
they have tried to and have been semi-successful at winning and making the playoffs without a quarterback through their defense, right? Their defense is effectively has been the number one defense or top 5 defense in the NFL. And they've tried to piecemeal it together, even with Matt Canada calling the most predictable plays in the history of recorded football. Okay. So I want to give them
never going to rest easy.
Never. So I want to give them credit for that. They tried to reinvent the wheel. Here's where the Steelers are, though. And they do have, you got to admit, they got a little bit of that San Antonio Spurs luck, right? Like some franchises, like, oh, fine, the Steelers, made the playoffs last year. They're not going to move up. They're not going to do all this other stuff. I could see them absolutely going, we're gonna start Mason Rudolph this year. We're gonna win 4 games. Mike is gonna take another job. We're gonna have a new coach. We're gonna have the number 1 pick. Oh, and look at that, Arch Manning. That San Antonio Spurs luck. Spurs luck. Yeah. So you have this hard reset, like Carolina basketball. You finally have this hard reset. Yeah. And I think that's ultimately the only position that they could go to at this point.
But the thing that you are overlooking in that scenario, because yes, it makes a lot of sense. Mike Tomlin's extension kicks in this year. He has 3 more years. He has 3 years under contract starting this year. Art Rooney does not pay people not to work. Like, that is a well-known thing within the
offset. He'll get another job. He'll get another job.
But it's still like, that is just not how he works. Like, he is not, Mike would have to retire or pull a Sean Payton and step away. It would have to be on Mike's terms. It would not, the organization is not going to tell Mike Tomlin when he's done. Mike Tomlin will tell them when he's done.
Which I think is a real possibility after going through this year, what they could go through. And maybe you're even right. Maybe you'd be better off getting Aaron Rodgers and truly having the thing tank on them, because maybe Mason Rudolph will be spunky enough with Metcalf and Pickens to make something work or get back to that 500 mark. But that's the only way home.
Yeah, they can get to 500 with Mason Rudolph. Like, they did it the year that they got to 500 the year that it was Mason Rudolph and Duck Hodges. They didn't make the playoffs, but they maintain a winning record. Mason Rudolph isn't the horrific quarterback that he has been made out to be. Like, he has gotten better over his years. I think that he is a serviceable quarterback. He's not who you want to, he's not who you're going to build your franchise around, but he can be a bridge guy. It's just, I don't know how that does for vibes. I mean, the locker room really likes Mason Rudolph, don't get me wrong, but I'm thinking more like, how does George Pickens handle this? How long, if you go into the season with Mason Rudolph as your starting quarterback, how long until George Pickens is requesting a trade on his Instagram, or his dad is tweeting about how imagine how much better my son could be with a real starting quarterback? Like, those things have happened before. The Steelers are in a very difficult no-win situation. I am leaning toward their best case scenario is that Shador falls to them at 21 and that he hits his ceiling or shows signs of being able to achieve his projected ceiling and it goes well.
Okay.
I don't think there's a single chance that Shador falls to them at 21.
There's no way.
You know what? I am taping a mock draft later this afternoon. And do you know who I am taking at 21 because he was available?
Yeah, I don't think there's a single chance in real life that
No,
happens.
that's not going to happen.
I mean,
well, you know what? Tell you what, Brooke, if your mock draft works out, you will. Is there like a bottle of liquor we can send you?
Absolutely.
yes, you absolutely can.
Not the Malort.
Would you like a 6-pack of Malort? Well,
I would not.
okay,
No.
that's what I thought. That's what I thought.
No, that you can go to the ABC store and we'll pick something else out there.
Would you wear? Brooke is a quarter zip gal.
Oh,
I'm wearing my Super Bowl quarter zip right now.
Oh, we can send her an OG Golf Classic quarter zip.
yes.
I would love nothing more. If the Steelers get Shador Sanders
Yes. Ooh, no. At 21.
at 21, okay, at 21.
All right, there's our wager.
Yes.
Joe's been in a wagering mood. Like he did like a $1 bet up in the press box yesterday on Adam Lee Decker. He's just in the mode right now. We've been talking Papal Conclave odds, right? Like who's stepping up.
I read a tweet today that was like, we need the way that The Athletic goes through and analyzes
Yes.
the NFL draft. We need for a Papal conclave. Like we need Bruce Feldman's freaks list for the
whoa. Hey, Brooke, we're talking about the Catholic Church. Chill on the freak list. Okay.
I would read it. I think it's the web traffic.
As a product of St. Joan of Arc in Boca Raton, Florida, and Cardinal Gibbons here in Raleigh. Chill on that one.
It would be a different kind of freaks list.
It would. Although, my favorite part about the Pope, though, Pope Francis I was reading a story before we got recording today about the Pope, his final days, and apparently he had one last Pope Mobile romp on Easter Sunday. They put him in the Pope Mobile, cruised him around. I wonder what kind of sound system that thing's got. It's got a bump, right? A little Gregorian chants, the bass hits. I'm all in.
Got a joyride.
A little joyride in his final days. All right, Pope Francis, what's your last dying wish? One last go in the Pope Mobile.
I would.
Freaking
that
go.
thing is sick.
My dad has a picture of Pope John Paul II's visit, his United States visit.
This is before the Mobile.
In the 80s.
Yeah.
And he had a Pope Mobile.
Oh, he did.
He had one. It was
He was the first one.
like bulletproof glass, all that stuff.
Pope Mobile.
Oh yeah, this is like OG Mobile. And
Because somebody took a run at one of the popes. That's hence the
Pope Mobile. I want to say it was Pope John Paul II before. That's why he has the.
That's
Pope
why
Mobile.
he had.
And their Florida trip, there's like my dad has a picture where he can identify himself like, where's Waldo in that crowd? You just see a sea of people around a Pope Mobile. My dad's like, I'm right there. So
that's pretty sick.
Pope Mobile's legendary vehicle. So
I'm glad that was part of his last 24 hours on Earth was getting to be in the Pope Mobile one more time.
He saw that, and he saw the Canes take out the Devils on Easter Sunday. What more can you ask for?
He is risen. Everyone, do you think he watched WrestleMania last night and saw Becky Lynch come back?
Maybe he John Cena 17 time. I can die now.
I made a lot of she is risen jokes with Becky Lynch. Let me tell you, it does not go over well. People call you sacrilegious so fast.
Do I need to break out my St. Joan uniform to prove my credentials on this? Thank you very much. I was an altar boy.
Explain to me.
Yeah, don't Jesus explain to me. I was an altar boy. Thank you very much.
I don't know that I would tell people that.
Somebody took a run at the Pope in his home court, man. I didn't realize it was Vatican City. Mehmet Ali Agha.
When was this?
1981.
1981. Okay.
He got struck twice. He got hit twice by bullets.
Oh, he's like 50 Cent. Been hit with a few shells. He ain't walk with a limp.
Here's the crazy part. According to
Pope John Paul went hard, man. Come on.
The assassin was sentenced to life in prison by an Italian court.
Yeah.
Being the Catholic that he is, the Pope forgave the assassin.
That's right. That's all part of the Pope lore. I forgot about that.
The Pope lore.
And then the Italian president pardoned the assassin at the Pope's request. in 2000.
It's literally turning the other cheek.
A mere 19 years after he took a run at the guy.
Yeah.
Here is my question.
Oh, fuck.
Why was this adjudicated in Italy? Isn't the Vatican City its own country? Why do they not why would it just not go in to do they have government?
I think it would be the same.
Well, this is like me learning about the Winter War all over again.
I guess this would be
It's unbelievable.
I'll have to do a little bit more research on it, but I would guess it's kind of like Disney World in which they have Lake Buena Vista, which handles all the utilities. They've got their own fire department and stuff like that. But when serious matters take over,
But did they? I'm looking at the Pope Mobile from 81 now. It was a Fiat. It's like a Jeep.
Yeah, it was
Pope
nothing.
I'm like, did you not get the footage of Kennedy? Like, did you not see our girl reaching for his head?
Yeah, but
flying off the back of the open-ended
since we're
convertible.
But since we're talking
What are
about
we doing here?
we're talking about avatars, the Pope is the avatar for God, so he survived.
He did survive.
He knew it was,
JFK, on the other hand,
is out here right? But he wasn't the Pope. He was Catholic, but he wasn't the Pope.
I was gonna say he was pretty close.
Hashtag God's plan. Now, I would say too, it could be
the
like
hubris.
it could be like Pulp Fiction, right? Divine intervention.
I have never seen Pulp Fiction.
Okay.
I am
Oh,
all right.
so sorry.
No.
I'm so sorry. I knew
You
I was
were
going to
born
get that
like a
reaction.
year after it came out.
I
but-
know.
Oh,
All right. That's your homework
gross.
assignment for the summer. Brooke Pryor, ESPN. We got Pope takes. We got Aaron Rodgers takes. Aaron Rodgers probably thinks he's on the level of the Pope when he's on ayahuasca.
Did I think he was going to announce his decision on Easter Sunday? Yeah.
He is
There was-
risen.
It was not out of the realm of possibility. I was waiting for it.
All right, Brooke. When you're back, when you're in town again, we'll get you in the studio. All right.
Absolutely.
Big thanks to Breeze Through for sponsoring Ovies and Giglio. Check them out online at breezethrough.com. Hopefully, the NHL will give us better game times in the future so that we can do something from Breeze Through as a podcast ahead of a hockey game. But if you're looking for a good parking situation, may I suggest you go to the Breeze Through on Tuesday ahead of game 2.
Our guy Tom Dundon likes to say he doesn't gamble. Well, I wouldn't have to gamble either if I was getting $45 a pop for parking.
I like all the people who tell you, like, well, you could just prepay for $20. I'm like, still,
Not in the playoffs. The brick always goes up. Man.
brick is always going up. I think I want to say the Storm Brews were $12 for the tall boys. So the price of the brick continues to go up. You want a cheaper Storm Brew to tailgate with?
Boom.
Get it at Breeze Through. Go to breezethrough.com and get all your tailgating needs. I saw Jared yesterday from Two Roosters. He was working a little extra during the playoffs and slinging those slaving Sundays at Two Roosters.
Best
there
deal
in the
at
arena.
the arena. Speaking of savings at the arena.
So I went to Two Roosters on Saturday night as we celebrated my mom's birthday.
Okay.
And I told her the chocolate chip carrot cake was divine. And my mom loves carrot cake. So we went and believe the hype. Believe the hype. I was blessed in that I got that cream cheese ripple right out of the gate.
Ooh, you didn't have to wait.
I did not have to wait. I got to the very moist chunks of carrot cake in near the bottom, which was great because the ice cream started to melt over a little bit. It's really good with the chocolate chips and everything else. But I got that ripple real quick, early. And I know it's easy to be cynical in this world about, oh, this is great, yada yada. Nah. That ice cream flavor makes me mad that like nobody ever thought about it before. So it's really good. So highly recommend that. We got a text from a 919. I mentioned the Person Street location all the time, right? But I forgot about the one over at the Golden Belt in Durham.
Good. Go hit them up.
Go hit them up.
Yeah.
We had a listener send me a text to the sports phone saying, hey man, ice cream and beer. Let's go. Of course, the kid's got the ice cream. He's got the beer. I mean, everybody wins. Everybody wins in that situation. So head over to the Golden Belt in Durham and get yourself some ice cream and beer while you're at it. So big thanks to Two Roosters for sponsoring us, and get the Slavin Sunday while you're at those games. Big thanks to Hometown Realty. Check them out online at myhdr.com. Buy and sell with confidence. There's a lot of new construction going up. So what you need to do is contact our friends at Hometown Realty because they understand what the incentives are right now. They understand with the builder ways to save money, get in early, have access to maybe future building sites. Those are the things that matter. And when it comes to selling your home, Well, there's a lot of guaranteed offers out there, these cash offers. But the problem with these guaranteed offers is you're leaving money on the table. You're not getting the full value of your home. This is why Hometown Realty is going to help you out. And of course, if you're going to buy a home, may we suggest you get things kickstarted with Miller Lending. MillerLending.com/the-OG. Tell them we sent you. Go to that landing page. If you call it 919-447-3377, tell them we are the ones that sent you. Because when that happens, they're going to set you up with a Raleigh Wine Shop gift basket as things progress. You're going to be spending a little time with Gordon Miller this week.
I am. Thursday, we're going up to Danville.
Okay.
Do a little gambling.
Well, here's the thing. You don't want to gamble with your mortgage because typically when you pay closing costs, there's a little bit of hedging that's taking place. You're thinking, all right, I'm going to buy down this rate and I'm going to be saving money once I break even on buying down that rate. Well, typically it takes about 8 years for a rate that you bought down to break even. Typically, people have a reason to refinance about every 4 years. And it goes beyond just the rate itself. Sometimes you want to kickstart that home improvement project. Maybe you want to consolidate debt. So never pay for closing costs. Miller Lending is going to make sure that you understand all your situations and look to the future so that you ultimately save the most amount of money down the line. So go to MillerLending.com/the-OG or call them directly at 919-447-3377. All right, we should turn the lightning round throughout the summer into Today and Bill Belichick, right? As we referenced at the start of the podcast, there's a strawberry lobster. You said this to me. I'm like, what in the hell are you talking about? What is a strawberry lobster? He's like, oh, you do not see the latest Instagram post. So this is from Jordan Hudson, Bill Belichick's girlfriend, and it reads, "Ever had lobster dinner in Bahama?" She's such a card. So funny. And this is classic. This is such a classic relationship dynamic. You will notice that all pictures of Jordan Hudson on Instagram and on social media, she is straight fire, right? The outfit's picked out. The hair is done right. That camera, she knows where the camera is at all times, and she's going to look good. And I respect that. I'm not bringing this up in any sort of disrespectful way. Salute to you, Jordan. You know where the camera is, and you are killing it on social media every time. But the significant other doesn't get that benefit. Bill's in the corner wearing an cut-off Iowa hoodie, jowls just down as he's picking at his strawberry lobster. If that's not an influencers in the wild, diligent boyfriend here for the Instagram stuff, I don't know what is. At some point, Bill is going to show up on influencers in the wild, holding the camera, making sure that his girlfriend has the right shot with sunset heart hands. That's going to happen. Probably in July. We'll get a sunset heart hands as Bill's taking that photo. Thoughts?
All we're missing is the orange smiley face. Like, this is big senior living energy. When you go to the assisted living and they prepare the fruit cup for you at 4:30. Do we have a time on when this was posted?
1 day ago. I don't know the exact time it was posted though. I don't know the exact time it was posted.
I got a couple of questions. They seemingly are sitting very far apart. He does not have a phone in his hand, but he's clearly not looking at her.
No. He's just trying to enjoy his strawberry lobster, man.
He's hydrating, so that's good. But hey Bill, just so you know, I know you don't have the bandana over your nose and mouth right now, but you've stuck up the University of North Carolina for about $45 million. You think maybe you can rep your school? Iowa? Really?
Iowa.
As you like to say, this photograph is staged. Well, she should have told him, hey, babe, or hey, BB, please put on the Tar Heel blue for me and for the brand. Thanks, Iowa. And somewhere in the sleuthing comments on the Sickos committee was the one who pointed this one out.
Yeah.
Somewhere on there, they're like, well, Kirk Ferentz coached with him at the Browns. And it's like, yeah.
Cool.
And then his fail son, Kirk Ferentz's fail son, was at his staff with the Patriots. It's like, right. And
I shouldn't read the comments.
Don't read the comments.
I'm not gonna read the comments.
It's like, buddy, you are literally being paid a shit ton of money by North Carolina. Just at least it's Nike.
Nike.
There is that.
Yeah, it's a Nike thing.
There's that.
That all works out. Meanwhile, Julian Edelman continues to. It's story time with Bill Belichick. Him and
he got the memo. Jules got the memo.
yeah. So let's see. What do we have here?
Him off plenty of times. Remember when he stopped minicamp and we had to do like 2 bout runs in the middle of practice and then go up and do NASCAR? And I was like dying. I was a little pissed at it because like our load was getting high. I remember he got mad at me because I kind of gave him a little lip. We're trying to execute out here, dude. We're not getting anything done here. We can't even get lined up. Shut the up, Edelman. Keep running.
I know you piss him off plenty of times.
Remember when he stopped minicamp?
Is he wearing a? So Edelman's wearing a UNC thing. Okay, and Gronk doesn't get one.
Well, I mean, I'm sure. I think Gronk still has a little bit of pride in Arizona.
Oh, okay,
but he was wearing a Navy sweatshirt.
That's true. That's true. So Edelman's. But these are the stories that we get.
Yeah, I can't wait to find out what NASCAR means either.
Yeah, I can't
some
wait.
Sort of drill, obviously.
I cannot wait to hear these stories from guys that decide to transfer from the program. Like we talked about with Andrew Jones. Either you're about this or you're not.
Yeah.
And I'll be curious to see if there's a player once they start making the rounds and they sit down with a podcast or something like that, what they have to say about their. Like for instance, I'd be curious about the Purdue guy who was there for 5 months. Yes. 5 months. Okay, said nah, I'm out of here. And then now Gio Lopez. Since we last left you, it's official that Gio Lopez is coming to North Carolina. Speaking of college football, there's a couple news and notes to get to through the college football playoff, and of course some transfer portal matters as well.
It's a lightning round. It's the lightning round.
In the most anticlimactic reveal, Nico Iamaleava. Why can't I pronounce his last name? That was brutal. I apologize. That was terrible. Nico.
At least he's not Sam.
Iamaleava.
There you go.
Got it. UCLA. Very anticlimactic.
Going back to Cali.
All right. And like the story came out like, yeah, the UCLA quarterbacks room has been informed that Nico's on the way. And then of course you get the official Instagram post and everything else. Okay, cool. Thoughts on Shedeur Sanders having his number retired at Colorado?
I don't necessarily.
And Travis Hunter.
I don't necessarily have a problem with them honoring current, recent players.
Sure.
But it's been noted by multiple people that you had 2 stars from that national championship team in that run, which really put Colorado football on a map back when we were growing up, that still haven't been honored.
No.
I'm not big into the retiring numbers either.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the guy won the Heisman. Yeah. More of, do the thing, put him in, do the Carolina thing. You give him an honor, you move it along, the number stays on retire.
I would be cool with it. And I saw somebody do the Photoshop to correct it. You got Travis Hunter and then you got Deion's kid. That's why he's that's why he's in the Ring of Honor. Not Shedeur Sanders. Just put Deion's kid. I mean, in terms of the numbers and the record and things like that, like what exactly are you honoring in the last 2 years?
Again, if they had already put Eric Bieniemy and Darian Higgins on the board for winning a national championship, or Rashad Salam, I think has also won the Heisman, and they either have or just recently.
Mm-hmm.
You got to remember, Colorado football was in the desert, so I don't necessarily fault whatever's been happening there. I'm not, they could have just put Hunter this time around and done it in a different order. But like Deion said, we don't need to wait for things anymore.
That's fine.
I think Shedeur had a perfectly acceptable 2 years at Colorado, worthy of being honored. Again, I'd rather it just be, here's your number, here's a ring of honor, instead of we're retiring your number, because that did seem a little,
One last note with college football. This is from Heather Dinich this morning. This is on the ESPN Plus side. College football playoff buzz. 5 topics on the table this week. Leaders of the college football playoff will gather in Las Colinas, Texas this week for their annual spring meetings, where they will continue to discuss the playoff's future format, how to best determine the national champion in 2026 and beyond. No major decisions are expected, so they're just meeting to meet. It's a meeting to set up a meeting. Could have been an email, honestly. But we have to spend money traveling all over the world to talk about the future of the college football playoff, while also complaining about players getting money. Here's the thing that stood out to me. What formats are under consideration? And Heather gives a typical paragraph, the paragraph kind of encapsulating what we've heard mostly. But then she kicks this one in there. One possibility, which could be viewed as a compromise, is having conferences earn automatic bids through their play each season, a model in which each Power 4 league can earn guaranteed spots through a combination of its team's overall records and maybe even TV ratings, according to a source, could be presented. The highest ranked conferences would earn the most automatic bids.
They want to use television ratings to put a team into the playoff.
When I initially read this, I was mad. I was like, what are we doing here? But then after I got past that initial thought, that initial shock of reading that paragraph, I was like, what in the world are we doing here? I thought this was about wins and losses and who deserves to be there. And I went, wait, no, they're just putting on Front Street what we've always known, that they will make decisions for the playoffs based on what would make for better television. Why certain teams get viewed a certain way with the exact same resumes. It just so happens that one team is of a brand that we recognize and the other is one that we don't recognize. And in a way, I'm actually kind of okay with this, because if it's just admitting what we've always suspected, that television ratings or television considerations are the reasons why certain teams get in over others, well then, cool. At least you put it in writing and there's a formula to it. So in a weird sort of way, salute to the college football playoff for being honest about what the college football playoff is about. Television ratings and money. Salute to you.
We've got a lot to get to. Woo. It's a lightning round.
Not one, but 2 days of WrestleMania. Of course, they saved the best for the second day, and that's John Cena, historically, after beating Cody Rhodes, now 17-time champion. 17.
Yes. So Ric Flair has always been the unofficial record holder there of 16 world titles.
Yeah.
So good for John Cena. But actually, no, I think you got this one backwards.
What do we got backwards here?
Typically, day one at WrestleMania is like your warm up, but the main event of day one stole the show with Paul Heyman not only turning on CM Punk, but then turning on Roman Reigns to deliver Seth Rollins the win, and now be sided with Seth Rollins as he pursues he'll probably pursue John Cena to win the title. So that was actually pretty cool.
So
that main event was pretty cool.
I did not watch WrestleMania. I just saw it on social media and people reacting to things that they had seen and all that kind of stuff. And I'd seen that John Cena had won. Also that Rhea Ripley continues to win. So that's good too. I did see those highlights. I'm not going to lie. Sought those out.
It's in your timeline now, man.
Yeah, it's the algo feeds me. It feeds me the Rhea Ripley content, which cool. I ain't going to complain about that. Is it not contrived that John Cena was going to win?
No.
Because I know he went heel and all that stuff,
Yeah.
but there's also like the pop you're going to get for going out as the champ. And you can easily, like, taking John Cena as a heel is very hard to do. Very hard to do.
And people were cheering for him by the end.
Yes.
Last year's main event, they had everybody do a run-in.
Yeah.
Stone Cold, they had The Rock, they had Undertaker.
I saw the clip of Stone Cold showing up at an ATV and crashing it into the side LED board.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
So last year, the main event was like just one big, cluster, but it was all done to get Cody Rhodes over and get him the title. This year, they essentially let Cena win clean without any outside interference. Now, he used the belt to hit him and ultimately win.
Sure,
but it was a relatively clean match as opposed to the previous night where Paul Heyman's turning twice. You're like, oh, whoa,
Yeah.
what is happening here? So what a spectacle, though, WrestleMania has become. Not only one night, but 2 nights. And then here they are filling an entire football stadium in Las Vegas. Like, it is, you got to tip your hat to them and what they've been able to do.
To get to lightning round. A lot to get to lightning round.
So we got the Stanley Cup playoffs going on, but we also have the NBA playoffs going on. We got the play-ins through. We started opening rounds, and I'll tap my Mike Greenberg voice again and say, Giglio, after one weekend's worth of action, which series is over?
Well, if I'm working at ESPN, then I have to overreact to LeBron James.
Yes.
And now this is proof that he's fraudulent and that Michael Jordan is better.
That's right. Luka with 37.
Michael Jordan never lost a playoff game, let alone a playoff series. In his entire career, he won a championship every year that he played.
Every time.
So that would be my initial one. But the serious one, I think everyone knew already. The Thunder won by 51 points.
So
also the Thunder won 68 games this year, and like nobody really noticed.
No. No.
Like 68 games is a lot.
I feel like this is a test of if you're going to get beat.
It really is.
Even
I'm like 51.
So I'm kind of like, hey man, the series can't get any worse than this. So pick yourself right back up and go. No, I think honestly, if going back to the Lakers, I think that would be the one where it's Luka and everybody else, and it's showing you some of the deficiencies of what the roster is with LeBron James, and that the Luka deal was even smarter for the Lakers going forward because they know who's going to be the guy after LeBron James finally decides to call it a career. It was all about future planning. To me, it wasn't about trying to win a championship this year. Not to say they can't be dangerous. I'm not saying that LeBron James can't dig deep and find LeBron James moments in the playoffs, and I'm sure he will. I think it just kind of shows you what the deficiencies are of this team and that the future really is just Luka and what they're going to build around there, which is why everybody's still mad about Nico Harrison and the Mavericks and everything else with that story, which has been kind of bubbling over the last couple weeks. We haven't spent a lot of time talking about it, but I have been fascinated in how every PR mistake that you can make has been done by Nico Harrison and the Dallas Mavericks post. And it's so bad what they did that Mark Cuban, who has no actual say anymore, keeps having to remind you guys,
wasn't me.
It wasn't me. It wasn't me. It wasn't me. And like they keep positioning things like, Mark Cuban wasn't in the decision tree here. And they're like, well, why would he be? He sold his stake. He has no more say in this sort of stuff. But that's how bad it is that even Mark Cuban's like disassociating himself from all of that stuff. I'm not saying the series is over. I'm just simply saying that with the Lakers, you kind of see what their weaknesses are, and I don't see them pulling something out of their ass when it comes to a championship.
The two takeaways. First, going from the Lakers and the Timberwolves. If I would have told you, oh yeah, the Lakers lost game one on their home floor, you would say, well, LeBron actually historically has not been great in game ones. Okay, he's a little bit of a slow starter. You would also follow it up by saying, well, surely Anthony Edwards had an amazing game. Anthony Edwards only scored 22 points on 22 shots.
Yeah.
He was not that great.
Yeah.
And so that's what has to be alarming for the Lakers. Take away from yesterday's games, Joe, three of the teams yesterday scored in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
3.
Mm-hmm.
And I get it. Memphis is not long for this world. Neither are the Magic. Rockets are the number 2 seed out west. They scored 85 points. It's like, what year is it? What is happening? Are we getting back to that little bit more of a physicality shift? And that was one thing that the Lakers had mentioned, or at least JJ Redick had mentioned.
Yeah.
He felt like the Lakers weren't as physical and weren't ready for the Timberwolves physicality.
Well, if it's getting back to that, I'd be curious to see if people actually take more interest in watching, because everybody's been complaining about too many threes. The game is very predictable at this point. More physicality, and maybe people will watch. Big thanks to the Butcher's Market. Check them out, thebutchersmarkets.com. Hopefully people went to the Butcher's Market ahead of yesterday's game one for Easter Sunday playoff action and got the tailgate. It was a little humid yesterday, but still decent enough weather to go out there and tailgate. And with a 6 o'clock start, it's the early bird special if you're going to tailgate on Tuesday. Might make it easier for you if you drop by the Lake Boone location at Butcher's Market, pick up some sandwiches, and head over to the arena, eat in the parking lot, and then go in. You're going to save a heck of a lot more money that way.
You could also get pops at the Butcher's Market. So get all your tailgate needs right there. Go set up, have a day, and again, bet on that second period, though.
Fair enough. Big thanks to Mosquito Authority and Pest Authority. Check them out, bugsbite.com. I was in the yard doing some yard work this past weekend. I was not getting bitten up. The reason why? The treatments have started. So take advantage of their April special. Go to bugsbite.com. Mosquito Authority can start those treatments for you for a very low price, Joe.
$29. I know what you're thinking. It's not my first time, not my first service. Just tell them about this ad. They will honor that offer. $29 for your first mosquito control treatment. Bugsbite.com.
Also, big thanks to Keller Williams Commercial, the Donnelly team. Brian and Julie, they're going to help you out with commercial real estate. You can check them out online at trianglencommercial.com or Call them directly at 919-616-8681. Commercial real estate, highly specific. You are looking for warehouse space. You're looking for a new retail front. These are things that Ryan and Julie are experts in, and they're going to help you find the right space for your needs. And it all starts with a phone call, 919-616-8681, trianglencommercial.com. All right, let's get out of here with some Hey Joe, shall we? Let's go back to the OG sports phone, which is always open.
919-444-2211. Call the OG sports phone and curse or don't.
All right, this is from a 919.
Gentlemen, Robert and Raleigh, finally got a chance to try the chocolate chip carrot cake over at Two Roosters. Lead Mine is my location, but it's terrible. Nobody else should crowd that place. All right, I got to say, Two Roosters, they never miss. Thanks for the recommendation as always. Happy Easter.
I love our new marketing slogan.
Don't go here.
Don't go to our place. Try a different location. Not mine.
Leave mine alone. All right, to a 781.
What's going on, fellas? My name's Andrew. I'm a relocated Caniac up here in Bruins country. Before I get to my points, wanted to give a quick thank you to you guys and congratulations on the upcoming 2-year anniversary. This podcast has been great for keeping me in touch with my hometown teams, and honestly, the ads and stuff kind of helps with the homesickness sometimes. So, thanks for that. The point I wanted to mention, and I'm sure if the Canes go on a run, you guys are going to talk about it eventually, about how our fan base feels like the national media doesn't respect our team, our city, or the culture that the Hurricanes have built in the Raleigh area. Whether it's, TNT panel, ESPN, or God forbid Eddie Olczyk gets a game and poor Ron Francis's wife has to sit there and listen to this man try to steal her husband. I'm here to tell you, as someone who comes from a family of Rangers fans, I know, first person in Raleigh to have New York connections, and now lives in Boston, that they don't respect us. They absolutely loathe the idea of a non-vacation destination city in the South being a hotbed of hockey. Doesn't matter how many times we make the playoffs, I still have people to this day up here say things to me like, well, the Hurricanes are a cute thing, sure, the fans, whatever, but it's not going to work. It's not sustainable. Doesn't matter that we've won a cup and have been around for, what now, closing in on 3 decades? What I would say to the fans is embrace it. Let's embrace that role of being the thorn in the side of all these big markets that, despite having all the resources, all the history, can't seem to win a cup looking at you, Toronto, and actually all of Canada. So we're going into this playoff. I think to say house money is an exaggeration. They're a very good team, but as we've heard on this podcast, they took a hit. The Rantanen thing didn't work out. I think they flipped it in a way that moving forward we have pieces that not only fit right now, but that they can use to either draft better or trade into players that would work for this team. So it's all positive, guys. They should get past the first round. But let's go Canes. Be loud, be proud, and don't get mad. Blow raspberries in the face of the national media when we knock out their big city darlings and hit their ratings or whatever the fuck they suddenly care about whenever the idea of the Hurricanes making a run happens. Thanks for taking the call, fellas. Congrats again on 2 years. Let's go Canes, baby.
I appreciate that phone call. That was a good phone call.
We're here for you.
It's interesting. This has been a year. I've referenced it a couple times throughout the season. I just haven't really been able to crystallize it all that well, in that there's levels to how you present yourself. I think the Canes as a franchise operate as a team that expects to be here. I think the social media arm of it plays into what the fans want, which is the chip on the shoulder. Everybody's out to get us. We're going to stick it to you. I think the fans have, to a certain extent, embraced that. I wish they would embrace it a little bit more rather than hoping and wishing and praying they can get back to 2019 and the bunch of jerks and nobody expected us to be here. So it's like a weird balance. I think it needs to transition fully over to what the caller's point is that, yeah, no, we're here. We're not going anywhere. And it's going to annoy the crap out of you. And pettiness is clearly part of all of this. I had seen this. You had sent this to me from Big Head Hockey. Goals in the playoffs. Logan Stankoven. 2. Mikko Rantanen. 0. Right? And that's going to be a thing that is going to drive the playoff conversation throughout. How's Mikko doing? How are quote unquote our guys doing? I mean, people are still holding Holla sucks signs at the games. And Eric Holla hasn't been here in what, 5 years?
Been a minute.
It's been a hot minute now. So if that pettiness becomes a little bit of an identity for Canes fans, I'm cool with it as long as you understand it's coming from a position of expectations, not just the, we're just happy to be here. And if they don't make it, no big deal. We'll get them next year. No. Go out and get it now. That's what I'm all about. Speaking of the Canes, from Kelly on Blue Sky, you were really excited for that one, weren't you? And she's referencing what I had put on Blue Sky. Stank was dank as the Canes smoked the Devils out of the arena on 420. OG After Dark rolls on now that we're in Stanley Cup playoff mode. And don't forget to spark up the OG Sports phone. Was I proud of that one? Was I happy about that one? Damn right I was.
Mm-hmm.
If I can't be cringy dad joke guy, then what else do I have going for me? From John on Blue Sky, listening to Friday's mailbag episode. Thanks to Ovies for ruining my Monday by reminding me that the Killer's Hot Fuss is 20 years old. Hey, if I got to suffer and struggle with the very aspect of getting old and music that you thought came out 2 years ago is actually 20 years old, you're going to suffer with me. But then again, I also put the good things in your ear as well. Bradford. Jim's soundtrack this morning was Lateralis by Tool. It's all my fault. Got to make the pieces fit, Joe. Got to make the pieces fit. No schism the rest of the way. I think the Canes are going to sweep this thing with the Devils. We will see you Tuesday for a normal podcast and then an After Dark immediately following Canes Devils Game 2.